If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. My name's Doug Edrington. I'm your Tom Ferry coach. I had the pleasure of working with a lot of you guys for a while now, and working with Nazar and Christina and having a lot of fun. By the way, guys, I got to say, I wasn't expecting this, but thank you very much for my Falcons shirt. That was a nice little surprise. Some of you guys got together and sent that to me.
Get on with it.
Thank you. Get on with it. See, we got some Falcons haters in the room, but thank you very much. So, guys, I want to ask everybody today, who here has ever been like on that high as a kite high from an appointment? You left that appointment and you're just like, man, I'm on fire. That was awesome. Tessa's like, I think she's doing it right now. Maybe Tessa's in the car driving for, is that what's going on, Tessa?
No, I wish.
Okay.
I feel that feeling, and it's like, it's one of the main reasons I love real estate, because it's the best damn feeling.
Yeah. I just walked out of an interview and literally walked out of it and came straight to the Zoom call. And I was like, man, that was such a great interview. Like, we crushed it. We killed it. My director of onboarding is signing them up right now. And I was like, man, that was awesome. How many of you had that same feeling after every hour of power of prospecting? Kind of crickets right now, right? And so what I want to talk to you guys about today is getting ourselves in the right place for that hour of power, okay? Maybe you don't call it the hour of power, maybe you do, but like the whole concept of an hour of power of prospecting is if you get your 1 hour of power in every single day that you're committed to prospecting, you're probably going to reach your goals quicker than you would if you didn't do that. Can we agree to this? Show of head nods, thumbs up. Yeah. So I want us to think about our prospecting efforts today, because we all know the market's changing. COVID market is gone. Interest rates are up. The frenzy's not like it used to be. Multiple offers are starting to fade away if they're not already completely faded in your market. And we're having, for those of you that weren't in the business prior to COVID, this is kind of normal. This is kind of normal right now. Who was in the business pre-COVID, and do you think this is normal or not normal? I think it's kind of normal right now. So where a lot of people in the world are panicking, a lot of agents in our industry are panicking, the people that have been here for a while, not panicking as much, because they're like, all right, we just got to get back to the grind, but now we got to do it. So I want to challenge everybody today to really think about, what does prospecting look like for you? And I want to talk about a couple things that hold us back from having a really successful prospecting hour of power. You guys up for this conversation today? Cool. If you don't have your camera on, throw your camera on. A whole lot more fun to see smiles and reactions than it is to see black boxes. So I want to challenge you all to think, all right, first off, why do we not have successful hours of power? Let's start with the negative side first. We're going to build up to the positive side. Why do we not have successful prospecting efforts? Anybody want to throw out any ideas on that? Like why we fail at prospecting?
It's not a part of our schedule.
Not a part of our schedule. That's a very common one. Or if it is, it's consistent in our schedule, and just after a while, we don't see it. Like it's there, but we just don't even see it. You know, I see calendars a lot of times that have gym time at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, you do that every single day? And they're like, I don't do that anymore. I'm like, do you even see it on your calendar? I forgot it was there. But you see everything else. So sometimes we zone it out. What else? What's other reasons we're not successful at prospecting?
Maybe we don't like it, like doing it, or.
Dude, you hit it right on the head. I just like, who enjoys doing that? Especially if you haven't, like the last time you did it, it wasn't successful, right? Yeah. So totally. I just don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. Anybody else? Can I get one more?
What to say?
Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say, right? We got to think about what we got to say. So, another way to kind of think of this too, all those are very accurate. 3 words I want you guys to write down. That the first part of this is mindset. We got to get our mindset right. But the 3 words I want you to write down is shame, blame, and justification. Shame, blame, and justification. I believe these are the 3 words that keep us from prospecting. So let's break these down a little bit. Shame. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. There's no success in this. Nobody's going to answer this time when I'm calling. You shame yourself. You say all the negative things, and then we don't end up doing it. I know I'm guilty of doing that in the past. Anybody else, or am I alone on that one? Right? So let's first, again, let's just go ahead and recognize, like, what are the things that sometimes stop us? And I want to talk a little bit about positive affirmations here in a second, but like, again, these are the negative. A lot of people say, positive affirmations, that's kind of cheesy. It's not for me. Well, then tell me why you give yourself negative affirmations all the time. Because people that don't believe in positive affirmations generally tell themselves, sometimes inside their head, maybe not verbally out loud, but they give themselves negative affirmations. So we want to recognize that, oh, am I a victim of this? That I need to save myself. So shame is one. Blame is another. Okay. I'm blaming it on, the customers aren't going to answer today. My wife won't let me right now because I need to help around the house, and I've decided to have a home office and that sort of thing. Like, I got to help the family out. You blame it on the deals that you have, like I've got to handle this inspection. I've got to handle this appraisal issue. I've got to do a final walkthrough today. We blame it on the environment. It's too noisy in the office, or that person always wants to talk and I don't get anything done. We tell ourselves these things and it talks us out of our success. Again, anybody ever been victim of this once before? Blaming anything to keep you from prospecting? So we're not alone there, okay? And then the last one is justification. You justify to yourself of why you don't need to prospect today, but you're giving yourself a pat on the back. Hey, I got a couple deals in the pipeline right now. I got money coming. I deserve time off. I deserve a break today. And we justify sometimes, even with positive things, of why we don't need to prospect today. But then it never fails if we're in that boat. A month goes by and it's like, wow, last month was great, and I have blanked out this month. How did that happen? And we go back and we justified all the reasons of why we didn't need to prospect, And so when we think of shame, blame, and justification, I would challenge you all to write down the things you tell yourself inside your head and categorize them between those three. And after a minute, you're going to realize, oh, wow, I am a believer of affirmations. They're just very negative affirmations. And so recognizing the negative ones first allows us to start to recognize how affirmations do work. And maybe we should think about positive affirmations. And so when we think about positive affirmations, the first time I ever was exposed to affirmations, I was that guy. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Drive down the road and talk to myself about how awesome I am? Like, that's weird. I'm not going to do that. And someone, more as a joke, sent me an old CD of Tom Ferry. Nazar or Rob, I don't know if you guys ever saw this or remember this, but Tom Ferry used to have CDs that you could buy or he sent out or whatnot. And it was like club music with like the bass hitting in the background. And it's like, I am awesome. I am a mean, lean selling machine. I am going to sell more houses this month than I've ever sold in my entire life. The other agents in the office are going to want to just sniff me. I'm so amazing. It's just like, it was funny. It was funny. And I heard it. I was like, this is really cheesy. But then I forced myself to listen to this driving down the road. And after a while, you start to be like, you know what? I am pretty good. I am capable of doing this. It's just a choice. It's literally just a choice to tell yourself the right things. And then I started applying it in other parts of my life. Just simple things like, I am capable of going to our company Christmas party tonight and only drinking 2 drinks. I am capable of drinking water more than I drink alcohol. I am capable of being home at 11 o'clock at night, which is reasonable for a Christmas party, and wake up tomorrow morning and have a great day. Like literally things like that can make you change the way you operate. What we tell ourselves is very, very important. So for those of you who I'm just curious by show of hands, who thinks positive affirmations hold value? Okay, cool. So for those of you that didn't raise your hand, I want to challenge you just to try it. Every time you wake up in the morning, like Create your mantra. Create just a one-liner that you're going to say over and over and over and over again to yourself until it kicks in. Does this make sense? Okay, so mindset first. We're talking about hour of power. How do we have this great hour of power? Mindset first. 2, you guys have joined a very collaborative company. Some of you are teams, some of you are solo agents, but you've joined a very collaborative company. That's why we have a couple pages of people on a Zoom call today. I want to challenge you all to recognize, team or no team, you are part of a larger organization that we're going to refer to as a team right now. And you need to have accountability and do this with someone. I don't know about you guys, but I like prospecting with other people that I think can bring value to me. Anybody agree with that? It's more fun. Gamify it. Anybody playing fantasy football right now? Nobody? Shocked. Okay, we got one. I got one up there. Amber's playing with me right now. It's playoff time. It's competitive right now, right? It's fun. It's fun. So like, how do you gamify prospecting? I see that, we got the big room with a lot of people in it. Do you guys ever have call nights? Group of people get together and do call night? Christina's nodding her head yes. I would recommend your next call night, volunteer 2 people in the room to be team captain, and you guys go schoolyard style and break the room up in half. I'll take him, I'll take her, I'll take him, I'll take her, and make a competition out of it and have fun with it. Tom Ferry told me a long time ago when my team was having a slow month, and he said, hey, Doug, you know what you do when the business is slow? I'm like, what's that? He says, have a competition. Like, oh, that makes sense. He says, do you know what you do when business is really good? And I'm like, no, what do you do? Have a competition. He says, what do you do when business is flat? And I'm like, I think I know the answer to this. We should have a competition. So we want to gamify as much as we can. I don't know if any of you guys like to gamble at all. Put money on it. Show up to prospect, and everybody throws $5 in a hat. First person to hit $100. First person to hit $20. First person to get the appointment. Have fun with it, because that pressure, that urge to want to win in a different way can give you that success. Does this make sense? Okay, cool. So we need to do it together. Accountability is huge. Another piece to this too, a different strategy I'm working with somebody, is I'm a big fan of having a whisper coach with you when you're prospecting. So how many of you have read the book or listened to it, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss? Solid book. Guy's an FBI negotiator, and he talks about how part of his book talks about a lot of great things, but part of his book, he's explaining a scenario where he's like outside of a bank, and there's the bad guy in the bank, and he's got 10 people hostage, and he's got the reason the book's called Never Split the Difference. It's not like he can like save 5 people and the other people get killed. Like, that's not a win. You can't split the difference. He's got to get it all. And so in part of it though, he is one person talking to the bad guy on the phone in the bank, trying to learn information, gather information, and get him to do what he wants him to do. Okay. Now, the thing that the bad guy probably doesn't recognize is that while Chris is on the phone talking to the bad guy, there's like 4 other people set up in the hut or the van or wherever they're set up outside of where the good guys are. And there's like 4 other people listening to the conversation, being Chris Voss's whisper coach, because one person can only hear one thing at a time. But if you've got 2 people, like let's say you're prospecting in your office and you're on speakerphone and you're taking turns back and forth with your whisper coach, which by the way, is your accountability partner, your teammate, your colleague, whatever it may be. If they're listening with you and they've got the whiteboard and they're just throwing ideas up there, not that you have to say what they say, but they're just giving you more options of ways you could go, you're more likely to get the results you want because you got 2 people on your side versus 1 on their side. So if you think, I've been struggling lately and I've not been saying the right things, bring a whisper coach into your prospecting. And guess what? You may say, I'm not the best prospector, but if you get to listen to, you get to be the whisper coach too. Take turns, let them make a call, be on speakerphone. You're going to hear things that they don't hear, and it's going to build you up. You're like, wait a minute. I just picked up that they might have a house to sell, and the agent on the phone just is all focused on the buyer. They got the buyer blinders on right now. And so, that's something we need to notate so he can come back to that. So whisper coach, accountability partner, gamify the system. Is this making sense, guys? Okay, cool. So we got mindset, we've got accountability. Next thing I want to talk about is what you say. So who's been following Phil Jones lately? Phil Jones has been amazing to listen to. If you don't know who Phil Jones is, he wrote the book, Exactly What to Say. He spoke at Summit. He spoke at some of the team. Nazar's got it sitting on his desk. That's awesome. Hold that back up again, Nazar, so everybody can see it in case you didn't see it. Exactly What to Say. It's a short little book. I would recommend listening to it. When I first picked up this book, before I heard Phil on stage, I'll be very honest, I opened it up and I started reading it and I was like, this is pretty simple stuff. And then I started kind of skimming through it and I was like, okay, I get the point. And then I heard Phil on stage and I was like, oh, wow, this guy's good. He's taking simple things and making them even better. And then I went and listened to the book. And now I have literally listened to that book 5 times. It's, by the way, Nazar, hold that book up and turn it sideways so everybody can see how small it is. A lot of us don't like to read. That is a tiny book.
100 pages.
It's 100 pages and it's big font and there's a lot of spacing. So you can read this book like in an hour. Okay. I think actually the audiobook only might be like an hour and 20 minutes. Okay. So it's a great book, great book. Let's see here. Seth just said they collaborated on a new book just for real estate agents. I have not picked it up yet, but I did hear the same thing. So when you are prospecting, coming back to our hour of power, I'm a big fan of Phil Jones right now because he has given us exactly what to say, as the book says. And I have in my iPhone notes here, I have all 18 of the chapters, quotes that he uses. I'm not sure it's for you, but how open-minded are you to? What do you know about? How would you feel if? Just imagine. There's all these things. And the great thing about prospecting is it's the one time in sales that you're allowed to have your cheat sheet in front of you because the customer can't see you, right? So you should have your scripts in front of you when you're prospecting. You may say, you know what? I'm really good at this. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't need that. I guarantee if you put your scripts up in front of you that you haven't looked at in a long time, that you think you've internalized, you might recognize very quickly that you're missing something. And so if you also add these Phil Jones one-liners, you're going to start using them and it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. I'm going to, real quick here, I'm going to give you guys my cheat sheet. I'm going to make this real easy for you. Hang on, I got it on my phone. So I've got to Slack it to myself and then copy and paste from my computer to this chat. Is that something you guys would like?
Sure.
Did I just get a sure? That was so exciting. Hang on one second. All right. So I should have had this queued up before, but this is really good stuff here. So this is my notes. So I apologize if something's misspelled, but you get the point here in the chat, paste. Everyone copy and paste that into your iPhone notes and then print it later so you have it in front of you while you're prospecting. Does this make sense? Is this a helpful tool for you to use? You guys haven't seen it yet, but it will be. Absolutely will be. So it's in the chat now. So mindset, accountability and who you work with, gamify the system, have a whisper coach, and we got to say the right things. Is this making sense, guys? Okay, we got 10 minutes left. I wanted to fly through this as quickly as possible because I'm curious, what other challenges are you guys having with prospecting? What's holding you back from having your hour of power?
If I can, before we jump into that question, Doug, imagine for a moment if every single conversation that you had with prospective clients started with one of these words here, right? Like, how would that change the way in which you communicate with your clients? I would venture to say that it would drastically improve your capacity to be able to make a connection with them and have them respond to you and give you what you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, like, I think we kind of, sometimes when we're prospecting, we go through the box of just checking the box. all we're thinking about is, okay, well, I need to make 10 contacts. And all you're thinking about is making those 10 contacts. And so when you have a conversation, you're like, oh, well, do you want to buy a house? No, you don't? Okay, cool. I'll talk to you later. And then you're cool. I checked that box. I made a contact. Instead of saying, what is my true objective is not to get a contact, is to freaking sell a house, or, help a seller sell a home, or buy a house, or an investor. And so, diving deeper into conversations allows us to be able to truly make an impact and connect with people. So sorry, I just wanted to add that in real quick.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, use this in your entire life, by the way. Don't practice on paychecks. Practice on other aspects of your life. I got to say that I'll tell you something really funny. My wife has been on this journey with me of real estate for almost 20 years now. And running a company, going to events, running a team, there becomes a point where my wife says, don't use that real estate shit on me. Okay. Sorry for my language, but that's the truth, right? She's like, hey, don't be using that on me. And I'm like, oh, wow. I find that the things that I say to my clients is so ingrained in me that when I'm talking to my own spouse, she thinks that I'm communicating through like this salesy world. Sometimes we got to freshen it up. So the other, we were out to dinner the other night, and a couple that invited us to go on a vacation with them that I don't know if my wife would be down for or not. I'm not 100% sure. I'm like, how do I pull off this vacation when my wife's probably like, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of those trips where Doug talks about real estate the whole time and we don't actually get any chill time on the beach. And so I'm like, so how do I bring this up? And I'm like, hey babe, how open-minded are you to going on a vacation with this person? And she was in the philosophy of, you would think she'd still just tell me, no, I don't really want to. The whole scenario is if you listen to the book about that one, that there's a chapter on how open-minded are you. Subconsciously, the mind subconsciously we're selling to the mind, right? And so nobody doesn't want to admit that they're not open-minded. So when you start with how open-minded are you to this possibility, I didn't actually say how open-minded are you going on vacation with these people. It's too direct. How open-minded are you on going on a vacation with a couple real estate friends that we could maybe build a stronger relationship with, and it would help out our business? And she was like, I mean, I'm open-minded. Like, what do you mean? We started with a yes, right? We started with a yes. And so does this make sense, guys? Like you could practice this in all aspects of your life and how you do it. By the way, those people are my parents. And we work together, and we're going on vacation with them like next week. So it's a tough one. It's a tough sale, right? And so, but it's all about like having those scripts in front of you, practicing them, using them in your hour of power. Okay. So someone said, can't say no to that. Well structured. Love that. So let me ask you guys this one more thing, and then if we have time for questions, we'll do it. People ask me this sometimes as their coach. They say, when's the best time to prospect? I think that this is a very debatable topic because there's two schools of thoughts here. Some people will say the best time to prospect is when the person's not working, maybe the evenings or the weekends. They're more likely to answer the phone. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. The other problem with that, though, is I don't know about you guys, but your will to operate at the highest level is no different than your cell phone battery. You guys notice in the mornings, hopefully you're charging your phone at night. In the mornings, our willpower is at 100%, as long as we had a healthy night the night before, right? But it's at 100%. And throughout the day, that battery starts to get lower and lower and lower, and then we get that scary red bar, and then we're panicking to find a charger. Anybody have to deal with that? I get excited when the new iPhone comes out, not because they give any better new great features, because they really don't. I just get a new battery. I get to start over, right? And so the willpower of your phone battery has a lot of relation to the willpower of your mindset, your physical, your mental ability to do something throughout the day. So I would argue that the morning time is the best time to get your prospecting in. Now, if you say that you like to prospect in the evening, if you can't consistently do that for a cadence that is reasonable, then I would recommend prospect in the morning and prospect in the evening, because morning times are very successful for prospecting, and your energy is better, your willpower is better, you're not exhausted or drained from whatever challenges you face throughout the day. But if you're like trying to tell yourself, well, I normally prospect in the evenings, and you don't do it that often, try the mornings and then still do the evenings. It's okay to have 2 powers of hour throughout the day. Does that make sense?
I've got 2 questions for everybody. One, how many people are prospecting on a regular basis, like
On a cadence.
3, 4, or 5 times a week? Yeah, none of you. Maybe 1, maybe 2. Okay. Now, the rest of you that are not doing that, like, think about why you're not doing it. Right? Is it because you have so much business that you just don't have time for it? Like you have
Sounds like justification, Nazar.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think we do that, like, oh, I'm just, it's not that you're too busy. It's not that you don't have enough you don't have enough hours in the day to be able to do all your transactions and that. Now, if you're wasting time servicing a transaction, then that's a waste of time. But if you are making excuses to why you shouldn't prospect, your bank account is going to be a direct correlation with that.
Money doesn't solve everything, but it sure makes a lot of things better.
Yep.
I'd rather be down and frustrated with a fat savings account than down and frustrated with no bank account, right? Cool. All right, we got like 2-3 minutes here. Anybody have any questions, thoughts, concerns, hallucinations around everything we talked about today on having the best hour of power you possibly can? So do this for me and still ask a question. Everybody just throw in the chat. What's one thing you're committed to from what you learned today? Or maybe relearn today. I know a lot of you guys, this isn't new to you, but it's good to rehear it sometimes. What's one thing? Throw it in there for me. And as you guys are doing this, holidays are a great time to prospect. People answer the phone. Just like agents slack off, so does the rest of the world and what they have going on. And it's also time to plan and think. It's when their families get together. There's nothing better than calling someone and they're like, actually, my parents are in town right now visiting us, and I bet I can squeeze a down payment out of them. I bet I can make that move right now. And so just really think of the opportune times when everyone else is taking it easy, where you can grind, and then just plan that vacation, plan those days off, plan those date nights, still do those things. I'm not telling you to not have a life, just saying, be very real, be very real. So prospecting daily, positive affirmations, prospect 1 hour per day. Make sure affirmations have a specific target. That's a really good point. You got to get really focused. You can't just drive down the road in the mornings and just tell yourself random things. They need to be consistent over and over and over again. Use the bathroom mirror. Schedule for morning. Need to find scripts I'm comfortable with. I'll look in a Loom. Rochelle, I think that is great. A Loom has a lot of great scripts in there. Also, make sure that you understand scripts. If you're getting scripts from a general source like a Loom, which is a great source to it, things you can edit those, you can change those. So develop them into Rochelle scripts as well. That when you get to internalize that and own that, it starts to feel like this is how I operate. Not I'm just trying somebody else's stuff. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Pleasure seeing you all. It's always a pleasure. If I don't see you, I guess I won't see you guys before the holidays. It'll be next month. So happy holidays, happy new year. Be safe, have fun, be grateful, loving all the people that matter to you, because that's really what we're doing all this for. See you guys later.
Wait, Doug, somebody had a question. Hold on.
All right, I got time for one question. What we got?
Okay, one question. Okay. Was there ever a time in your career where you just bullshitted yourself and told yourself that, hey, I'm busy right now, I have enough clients, I don't necessarily need to prospect as much as I should, like the hour of power, And if there was there a time, like, how did you get yourself out of that mindset and stop lying to yourself? That's basically what I'm doing.
Okay, so yes, the answer is absolutely yes. Many of us have been through this. Tom Ferry showed like a chart at one time that I think this applies to on stage at some event, and he threw up there. It was like a gas needle that went from left to right. Okay, and on one side, it said startup mode. In the middle, when the needle went up, it said cash cow. And then if you go all the way the other direction, it said fading winner. And he asked the crowd, where do you want to be on this scale? Where do you need your needle to be? And a lot of people went for cash cow. And he said, here's the problem with cash cow. What you just explained, I didn't see anybody's mouth moving, so I don't know who was talking to me, but great question, whoever that was. If you might be in cash cow right now. You may say, hey, things are good. I'm BSing my way through this and I feel like things are good. I probably know in the back of my head I should be working harder and I should be doing things that I did when I first started. But at the end of the day, like, you're really leaning towards becoming a fading winner. We all know that real estate agent in our market that was a badass. And they're like, what happened to her? What happened to her? And sometimes it's not they retired and they're sitting on a big lump of cash. They just got so much in their way, they weren't willing to reinvent themselves. So I'd recommend you push really hard on staying in startup mode at all times. I'll tell you right now, even on my own team, I've got some really great producers selling 70, 80 houses a year through COVID. And I'm having to really punch them in the face. I almost said bring them to reality, but punch them in the face, because they're saying, you know what? I want to be a luxury agent now. And I'm in little Chattanooga, Tennessee. We don't have Southern California luxury, right? And so our average price point is $350,000. Luxury in our market's like 7, 8, 900. We have $1 million properties, believe it or not. And so, but like, the thing is I had to tell them all this. I said, look, guys, I don't blame you for wanting to be a luxury agent because you think you've surpassed the startup mode, working with first-time home buyers and $200,000, $300,000 deals. But I can tell you right now, the way interest rates are, like, you got to be smart about watching what's happening in our economy right now. The Feds just hiked the rates again 0.5 point yesterday. The only people in the high-end markets that are moving are based on need-to-move bases. Marriage, divorce, children, job relocation. They're not moving because they want to anymore. I just bought a new house recently that I'm remodeling, and the payment on it is here, and I bought it a year ago. If I bought that same house today, the payment is double because of the interest rates. I would not have bought the house. We moved because we just wanted to. I don't have that option anymore because it's kind of dumb. It's like, we have a nice house now. When I bought this house, I said, we'll live in it for 2 years and we'll move again. But I didn't predict the rates to be in 7%. So now all these luxury movers are no longer considering making a move because they want to. So if you're thinking, okay, I've accomplished what I did to get to where I'm at now, and I'm just going to go on to the fun stuff, you're going to surprise yourself in a really hard way. This last piece, and I'll leave you guys with this. I'm telling you my lessons. I'm being very vulnerable here. Throughout last year, we have the Zillow Flex program in our market. And so for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically Zillow gives you a bunch of leads and you pay a referral versus buying them up front. But what we've learned is Zillow kind of controls the leads we get. And they've been sending us a lot of lower price points. And this year, a lot of my team said, I don't want to work with that price point anymore because they have the luxury of working with the higher price point. And guess what? Fourth quarter sucks for some of those agents right now. Because they're like, I don't have anybody, like everybody I'm working with, they've decided they're not moving. And so they got away from what got them there. They got away from the foundational work. So I don't know about you guys, but I want to be closer to startup mode than I want to be cash cow mindset wise and how I operate and what I do. Because if I stay working in startup mode, I'm going to be innovative. I'm going to be trying new things. I'm always going to be learning. And back, like even me, I'm running a team. I have a full-time recruiter. I just told you I walked away and hired someone. I'm back in the weeds. Like, it's like, I got to do it with them. I got to get in the dirt, get dirty. So does this make sense, guys?
Doug, amazing. Just so you know, we have our Zillow Flex meeting right after this, and I got a text from an agent that just said, he's literally punching us in the face right now. It was exactly what they needed to hear.
Hey, I'll end with this. Our Zillow numbers on my team are not where they need to be. And it's because of 6 months ago. We're doing great in the last 3 months for what we have to work with, but we have sold less homes. Like, our team last year did 504 houses. We're trending about 460. Lesson learned for me too. So we're all vulnerable to this. Luckily, the average price point's higher, volume's higher. It all works out, but I'm dancing with being number 2 in my market, not number 1 right now, 2 weeks from the end of the year. And I've been number 1 in my market for 7 years, and that pisses me off. So it's like, it's getting underneath our skins a little bit. It's because of the mistakes we've already made. So I'm already building for next year. We're all in the same boat together. You guys get this? All right, cool. Hope you guys didn't mind me running over 7 minutes. Good to see you all. Thanks for having me. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Doug.